Finally, the day has come. WWE 12 is out and in stores. Kind of in stores. It's sold out in a lot of places.
Yeah, our local Walmart, I know, didn't have it. I'm Steve.
I'm Mick Weiser.
This is The Hard Way. And we finally got a Twitter account. I guess we should start interacting with our fans out there
The
now.
show has a Twitter account.
The show has a Twitter account. Sorry. You don't have one personally.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
I have one personally. The Twitter account is Wrestling RP. And my personal Twitter account, if anyone wants to complain or bitch to me, is Steven Diggs Jr.
Isn't there like a number symbol?
Oh, at. But that's if you're already a Twitter member. Sandy, you don't know. If you're a Twitter member and you want to talk to somebody, like not a message, but if you want to reference somebody, you can put at and then put whatever their Twitter name is. So like, actually a couple weeks back when I had The Miz and I think someone else in my top 5, when I posted a second thing on my personal page and I put, hey, at The Miz, at whoever the other one was, you're in our top 5. You never know if they retweet it. If they retweet it or they reference us, even if they just reference us, we can get like 100,000 views sometimes.
Well, no,
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
That's fine. No, it's just this at thing with the person's name. Hey, blah blah blah, at blah blah blah.
Yeah, like Raw. Every time on Raw, you see it all the time. It's terrible.
But like even the word Twitter, like it sounds like it's all baby talk. Like this whole website is all baby talk.
Or it's the Padiddler. That's what we should make. We should make a site that's the Padiddler.
I think we should just
do a porn version of Twitter.
We should do kind of like how does it Twitter, where you can leave people messages, but it's an all video site.
Yeah, short videos, like 30 seckons. Because
you have a certain amount of
140
time,
characters, 147.
and like how people write down, like, well, this is what I'm thinking today, blah blah blah. Instead, like you just
little
have a
short
camera, and you're like, I took a shit. It was great. Now I'm
it felt good.
Jerk off.
Well, no, you know, it'd be worse. I'm taking a shit. Not that I took a shit.
Sitting on the toilet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, gosh, I'd be wrong. So, yeah, WWE, I was going to say Wrestling 12 came out. I guess it could be. What other wrestling games? I mean, Hulk Hogan's crap event came out, main event, which was... There's a funny video. I forget what review guys did it. They actually did a video review of it, and you get to see them in the green screen.
Oh, God.
No, but the cool thing is they're on a green screen, so they're in the corner of the video, and then most of the video is them playing it live, and they're trying to go for like you come to the ring and you gotta mimic the taunts. You gotta be like, yeah, yeah, and then you get in the ring and it's mini games. You don't just wrestle a whole match. Like one of your mini games is just to do punches and then block. One of the other mini games is to mimic a body slam. It doesn't really do them all together at one point.
One of the mini games is to get out of bed without pulling your ankle.
Remember he got off his couch and hurt his knee? That's one of the mini games. You got to get off your couch.
If you're playing as Kerry Von Erich, you have to make it across the room to get the cheeseburger without losing your foot.
So what do you think of the game so far? So, I mean, it's only been out for 5 days?
Yes.
6 days, something like that.
The story mode, the Road to WrestleMania story mode.
Is it called Road to WrestleMania? Or is
yeah, it's still Road to WrestleMania. I like it. I like it a lot. I like that they finally made the Universe mode a separate mode.
Right, yeah, a lot of people had that problem. I know you had a problem with that specifically
the controls have been changed.
A lot, completely for the most part.
I wouldn't say a lot.
I would. They redid the face buttons. That all the R's and L's are completely different from what they were last year.
There's a couple of things that they've switched.
I mean,
but at first it'll be kind of hard to figure things out, and we were talking about this. The instruction manual that comes with the book gives you basic things, and if you go in the game and look at the move list, it's all basic stuff. They don't tell you how to do the Apex Predator knock. You know, get the guy to stand.
I forget that when you get the guy to stand when they're on the ground. Like you got to download the manual. EA Sports, at least now that they don't put much manuals in their games, it's in the game. Gran Turismo 5s is in the game, and it's a huge technical manual, pretty much. WWE12 can't even put the simple I just want a manual of all that. They also took out the training, that open screen thing.
maybe
that would have been nice to help with the new moves. I think there should be a practice
tell you how
mode.
to do it. Yeah.
I think there should be just a generic practice mode, like in fighting games, and or training mode, whatever you want to call it. And then you can set up things so like if you want to practice TLC matches, you can set up the table and ladders and just screw around.
Yeah.
And then if you want to practice just learning the moves, I don't know. I think it's kind of I like those.
Or even if it gave you there was a little prompt that was like, this is how you do a move.
Mm-hmm. There should be that stuff. I mean, the funny thing is they already have those little prompts a little bit, but they need to do more. Not more. I think more tutorial help. I mean, I don't want to be mandatory.
Especially since
you don't like the reversals though so far.
Well, it's not. It's not that I don't like the reversals. We had the game on the easiest difficulty because we're still learning the buttons and everything, and the guys reverse.
They reverse a lot much. I like it. I think it's reversed. I think it's actually okay because I like that fluid, the Predator stuff. The moves are a lot more fluid in between each other. I know for some reason you don't like the reversal of a clothesline into a hip toss or an arm drag.
No, it wasn't that. It was the timing of it because of the fact that the guy's fist was almost to the guy's face. He wouldn't have been able to.
I don't know.
Reverse that.
I actually thought if you were to take those and we were to go frame by frame, I actually think it looks pretty fluid. I liked it.
It does.
I like it. I think the reversals are great. Now I haven't played in the hardest difficulty yet to see if they become like just reversing monsters.
If you do play the game, try and get used to the reversal, like the timing.
Timing's a lot slower.
You almost have
slower,
to time it. You have to time it yourself because the button seems to pop up a little too late.
But I think that's on purpose because they don't want people spamming the buttons. Because the last game, when you did was it the groggy moves in the last game? Like the strongest grapple, you couldn't hit one on a normal person. The computer you could hit them because the computer's designed to be kind of random, even on highest difficulty. But a person that had any common sense in that game and the amount of leeway you had in between pressing, you could just sit there and tap the reversal button, and 9 times out of 10, you could reverse a strong grapple because you knew it was coming. What we'd have to do is, the only way we could do a sweet grapple was, because the weak grapples were pretty bad for that too, you got to go into a weak grapple, and then every now and then, instead of going for a weak grapple, you had to hit a punch. And that's the only way you could mix it up. But when you go for a strong grapple, you're standing there, it's either going to do that or a punch, and you know a punch is coming or a kick because the guy starts moving like it. This, when you're going for a weak grapple, now you have to time it a lot more. I love it. I love that. I love that. I want the game to be much more realistic. I want to play more. I like the arcade. I like the arcade games. I like All Stars, or there's WrestleFest Survival, which is a group of guys remaking WrestleFest for the computer. But I love my No Mercies, my Fire Pros, and that's the two biggest games. And then 12 is one of the better WB games in a long time.
Well, probably my biggest complaint in the game is they had it in the game last year, but you actually could switch it back to the old controls. I don't like that mini game. The kick out, there's a bar. You have to hold the A button down. It charges up. There's a line, and you have to release it right on the line. And if you don't,
you got to release it right in that little one. It gets worse the more you're damaged. And it seemed to be late. Like it seemed like when I would let go of the button, there was a delay between when the bar would stop. So you had to time that a little bit. It's like online. Online's really bad for that because there's always a small lag. So you always had to think, I have to stop so many little clicks before that final bar would end because if not, you would go over.
It's similar to the meter when you're doing when you're trying to get out of the cage.
Yeah, that's the worst one.
It's similar to that.
That's the worst one. That one is.
At least last year you could change it back to the face button. So all you had to do was hit the face buttons when you wanted the guy to kick out. Now it's really hard to kick out of moves.
I still like the pin thing. I just think the buttons are a little more responsive. I mean, I don't, in some weird way, I don't know if I like that, or if I just rather have it be back to like the old No Mercy games where like you didn't have to worry about. I mean, I don't even know if the No Mercy games you actually had to button matches, but it wasn't like you're like trying to break your damn controller, trying to smash the buttons and push everything.
The old games, it was
like you can't press any buttons because they're all pushed in.
The old game, it was always the A button. You just kept tapping.
But like you didn't have to be like ridiculous with it. There was an amount of thing like if you're damaged, you're screwed. You know what I mean?
No,
if you didn't hit power moves though, you were.
There was a trick to those games. Any of the games for the N64 that had that same engine, the
WCW and W Revenge, World Tour, No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000.
The trick was
Virtual Pro Wrestling, Virtual Pro Wrestling too.
There was a trick. If you held, was it the right trigger?
I don't know.
The right trigger, I think.
Well, it's just the right button.
Or the right button, I think, was your strong attacks.
No, your strong attacks were you held in the A button for your grapple and you went into a strong grapple. You just tapped the A to do a short grapple and then you held A to do a short
wasn't there a button
grapple.
though that you held that did more like powerful kicks, punches, and stuff like that?
You know, it's been so long since I played that on an N64 controller.
I think there was.
There was, but I think it might have been R.
But if you held that the whole entire time that you were playing the game, and then you hit the A button as fast as you could, if you can hit it faster than the other person's hitting their A button, you can always get up faster and always kick out. Like, you can never be beat in the game.
But those games are...
That was the cheat that we found.
If they were to just make a modern version of that, I'd be happy. I'd probably never buy a wrestling game again.
Probably...
Especially if it had, like the Create Arena, you know, that's freaking awesome, the idea of having all that. The Superstar threads, you still can't put logos and stuff, but some guys have a little more editing Superstar threads, but not much. But the weirder thing about the game that no one seems to have talked about is
the glitches?
Well, a lot of people talked about those, but the character models are really weird. Some of the guys are obscenely huge. Like they never were that big. Like a lot of the legends seem to be out of proportion.
Vader looked way too muscular. He didn't look fat at all. He looked
Vader was fat, muscular,
super built.
Yeah,
and then Axe and Smash looked just completely fat.
Oh, they looked huge. They looked like remember WrestleMania 19 for the GameCube? Yeah. How every guy net looked like those old LJN action figures. That's what they look. Yeah. They look like when you make a creator wrestler and you go into the body type and then you go to individually on each piece, like the forearm and the arms and legs, and you just make them really wide. And Hawk was like huge. Yeah. I mean, he looked like Lesnar. I mean, he had like this huge body.
Lesnar in the game.
It's weird.
If you were to take like Lesnar's proportions in the game and make him a real human being and put it beside a normal human being, he'd be like the Incredible Hulk from the movie. I mean, he just
yeah.
If you take him outside of the ring and have him stand by the fans literally look like this pen next to like
exactly
way too. The guys are just like...
The game's much more simulation based now. It's a lot better, but the characters look more like an arcade game. They look closer to the All-Stars guys now than they did in 2011.
Like All-Stars, except in proportion. You know how All-Stars guys, like, the heads were small?
Yes.
They look like the All-Stars build, except in proportion. But probably, besides the storyline, the Road to WrestleMania, probably the thing that I think is really good compared to last year's. Last year's, there wasn't really much stuff to unlock. It was mainly like unlocking move sets.
There was a couple wrestlers, things. Right? Wasn't there a couple?
The unlocks in this game, almost every unlock is worth doing.
There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot of special things too, like things that
you wouldn't think. No. Like there's entrance videos. There's
for made up like factions that are in the screen, but that are actually kind of unique and interesting, which adds a little more like uniqueness to the games that you aren't going to see in WWE.
Probably the weakest unlocks in the game are a lot of the guys have street attires or
who cares?
Are wearing suits. It's like those really...
I guess they have those in the game already because they're going to use them in their story mode. So they're like, oh, let them be playable. Like how Vince McMahon's playable in the game. Because he's going to be in the story mode, you know what I mean? So Jim Ross is in it. But at least he's not the normal Jim Ross. He's got the football shirt on.
Well, it's just wrestling Jim Ross,
Right, but that's cool. But at least... Man, I do not give two craps about wearing Sheamus's backstage attire. I mean, his is actually one of the cooler looking ones.
Yeah, but no, there's some guys that like...
But
Nash...
It's like on the last game, MVP wore his like ghetto street thug attire. Do you think anybody was wrestling around in that?
Kevin Nash, like, one of his unlocks is a suit, and I don't think I've ever seen that guy wear a suit in my life.
No, he should be wearing a t-shirt and jeans.
I don't even think when he was in the Mafia...
Main Event Mafia.
I don't even think he wore a suit then.
He might. I think he might wear dress pants and a dress shirt. I don't remember. Who cares? Why? Dude, with Nash, they have him in the Big Daddy Cool, like the ones that's Big Daddy Cool, like the old one, the Diesel ones. But there's like a billion Diesel attires. There's Nash attires.
Yeah.
In tons of WCW ones. They could go NWO. They could go NWO.
Exactly.
The Wolfpack.
THQ. If you're looking for stuff to be unlocked that we want, different costumes that we're actually going to use the guys to wrestle in.
Because you're not going to make them DLC.
One of them,
you're just not using them.
One of them's like Edge. You unlock Edge, and then his alternate costume is Edge in a T-shirt. Same Trunks, just with a T-shirt, and he doesn't have a T-shirt in his entrance. If you want the T-shirt, you have to have him wear the T-shirt through the entire match.
His normal attire isn't the Rated R Superstar one, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, it is that one? Well, he has plenty of other ones that he used after all that stuff and before. And then the DLC, they have a DLC Edge that is the Edge and Christian, and it's a separate guy.
But I don't want the exact same outfit just with a T-shirt.
It's stupid. Cena has a billion of those.
A guy in a suit. Like, give us something
Undertaker
different.
can wear his hood.
But the problem with that is I'm pretty sure, we never checked it, but I'm pretty sure
because we just got
he's got to wear it the whole entire game.
No, he does. That's how it works.
And I hate that.
Why? The thing is why would you have those guys wear those in the ring? Because it makes your animations look weird. Because like they're going for a suplex, and his arm is designed to go around the head, not a cloak. You know, it looks so out of place. There was some weird things, like, we've heard a lot of glitches about the ropes and some weird stuff. We had one, like, the Rock's leg went through the ropes and then it disappeared back through. And then Vader was holding a table and his gut, when he holds a table, normally try it, when he holds the table, his fat-ass gut transmorgifies through the table, and you can see Vader time through the table.
I don't know if that's a real word.
Transmorgify, I don't know, I've heard it before.
It's a Dustyism.
The Dusty Rhodes. He's got a bicycle! He's got a bicycle! The shark!
One of my biggest complaints, and it's been the same complaint for the last few games, and they, for some reason, haven't fixed it. The first year they put out the game for the newer systems was, what, 2008? 2007?
7 for 360.
2007
came out for PS3.
The entrances, at least you can go up on the walkway now. It was cool before when you could fight in the entryway, in the crowd. But at least in that game, everybody had their entry attires. In this game, you know, certain guys have entry attire, certain guys don't. Guys that should have it don't have it.
Vader's, this is WWE Vader. We already talked.
No, but
about that. He doesn't.
Edge.
He doesn't have the WCW
like
helmet
I said,
thing.
Edge doesn't come down with a jacket. He doesn't come down with a shirt. But John Morrison, who hasn't come down in the jacket in forever, still has he has the jacket in the game.
I'm glad he comes out with the jacket though.
But still, I mean,
that's because he's gone. Which that's one news thing. John Morrison, this is his last week now. Just came out.
Yay!
So, whatever. He could have been good. I think there was a chance. He just.
But if you take the time to create a guy with an entrance attire, why not do it for everybody?
I know. I agree. No, I agree. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of.
If you're a wrestling fan, it's very rare nowadays with them pushing merchandise so much. Almost everybody wears a T-shirt to the ring. It's only a handful of guys that come out and they don't at least wear something, and probably only 4 or 5 guys in the game come out with an entrance attire that you don't have to wear the whole entire match.
Well, like, one interesting would be, like, with Cena. You know, he comes into the ring and usually throws his hat now. Like, at least that would make sense if they were to do that for his entrance. And I haven't seen Mysterio's entrance. Does he go up and, like, do the thing with the mask to the kids?
No.
What the heck? See, that's like.
At least he didn't in the storyline. I don't like Mysterio,
neither one of us really care about. I play Mysterio and Sin Cara more than I like those guys because I like flipping around half the time.
That was another complaint. WWE, or THQ, I guess I should say.
Well, THQ doesn't mean that they aren't, you know.
THQ hyped up the camera angle being a more realistic.
Yeah, much more like
camera
TV
angle like
presentation.
a TV show. If you're playing a ladder match, because I had this happen, if you're playing a ladder match and you put a ladder in the corners, the camera will get behind the ladder and you can't even see what's going on.
Yeah. Well, also, I understand that you want your main camera to be like your WWE show, but how many times on WWE show have you seen when you're watching Raw and the camera's facing him, but then a guy's sign appears right in front of that's never happened on a Raw show unless it's really like a screw up, and it happens too frequently in the games. Why did they even put a sign there? Just pretend there's no sign there.
Yeah.
That's all they had to do.
Or just have the sign.
I don't want the damn sign away.
Have the sign disappear so the camera's like kind of going through it.
Yeah, transparent. Yeah.
Well, also, I played a tag match. I had the downloadable LOD against the downloadable Demolition. I had a match with them, and Axe was on one side of the ring, waiting for his tag. I was standing here, and then you had Smash on the other side. Well, where the camera was, you could see Axe and you could see Smash, but I couldn't see where I was or what was going on with me.
Yeah.
So the camera angles.
I want the cameras. I want the cameras back to, like, Here Comes the Pain, before they started making them TV presentation, when they were just a wrestling game. I mean, I understand the camera cuts, but can you give us an option to turn them off to be back to like a wrestling game? Think of Madden.
Well, what happened
Think of Madden or my favorite, like the NHL series from EA Sports. There are like 15 different camera angles I can pick and play the game. I can play the game horizontal, vertical. I can zoom it out. I can zoom it in. I can do all that.
I bet if right now we popped up the credits for the game, there's at least like 50 game testers for the game, but the game gets released with glitches.
Well, that's how.
What were those guys?
Tell you,
what I think happened is
that brings more games are coming out with glitches now than they used to.
Well, I think THQ basically rushed a lot of stuff.
They have to. They got a deadline every year they have to meet.
See, I think what the problem is I think that like some of the ideas they came up with, they kind of came up with them late, and was like, no, we got to throw them in. And, they didn't get a chance to completely tweak it. You can tell, like, it's weird because you can tell what wrestlers were put in the game later because of the way they look is closer to the way they look, like, now compared to a few months ago when they would have been designing the characters. Some of the stuff catches up, some of it doesn't.
Well, CM Punk got his music, the living color is in that song.
He doesn't come out with the t-shirt, though.
Yeah, he's been coming out with a t-shirt for a while.
Oh,
is that logo in the game? The red, black, and white one?
I think there's actually.
I'm trying to think if I've seen it now.
I think it is because.
So that logo's in the game, but yet doesn't got on the shirt.
Well,
and you can't put a shirt on with Superstar threads or anything.
Some of the interesting unlockables.
There's tons of those.
Cody Rhodes in the game has the mask,
but
then there's the Dashing Cody Rhodes version.
Yes, which kind of makes sense because he's back to that kind of.
There's also, if you're a fan of Orton with the beard, it's in the game. If you're a fan of Orton without the beard, that's an unlockable. It's Orton without a beard.
That's the weirdest one. That's just the strangest one. It's like if they had a CM Punk without the chest hair, like before he became heel, like a long time ago. And there's WCW arenas,
yeah,
which is awesome. They're more like if WWE was to make a new version of them, though, as if like there was like instead of One Night Stand, there was like WWE presents Clash of the Champions, like if like WCW came back, which ties into the story mode stuff. But it's still cool. It's cool. Those logos are in the game. You can recreate those arenas. I mean, you can't recreate the entrances because you can't recreate the entrances in arena mode, but you can recreate the ring steps, the barriers.
There's tons of logos. There's pay-per-view logos.
Every WrestleMania logo, from what I've seen, is in the game. You can recreate every WrestleMania.
There's weird pay-per-view logos too.
I think In Your House is in there.
As far as gameplay goes, most of the characters play pretty well-rounded. If you're not a fan of Cena, like we are, you're really going to hate Cena in the game, just like in real life. It's almost freaking impossible.
He gets the Superman thing where, I don't know, or he does that comeback thing that they have now. It's a new
just thing. Like in real life, he no-sells. You can do your finisher, he'll pop right back up.
Yeah, he gets that, what's that one where you get up immediately? Like
we don't know because it's not in the regular instructions.
No, there is an ability where you pop back up and you only get to do it like once a time. He gets up and then he does his comeback, and the comeback in this game plays like Legends of WrestleMania, where it cutscenes and he's doing a move and a button randomly appears and it's really small. It's actually kind of small. And you have to like figure out what button to press, and if you don't press it in time, he does the move and he does the chain and he keeps doing the shoulder blocks, then he does the protoplex. and then it pretty much leads right into him getting his goddamn signature. And then what he does the I forget what move. Does he do five knuckle shuffle for the signature?
Yeah.
Which then leads into him immediately getting his damn attitude adjustment. And I mean, and if you're good at kicking out, you might be able to kick out, but it's really hard because it's just bam, 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 and you could be 3/4 of the way through a match beating the shit out of him, and I was The Rock, and I was winning easily, and then all of a sudden he gets these, and it is so hard to reverse them when you're in the comeback stuff.
So, the
momentum shifts.
If you're like us, and you don't like
crazy.
John Cena, you might want to either get the all-unlockable code, which will give you the attributes, or
the
buy the
attribute customizer.
Turn his stuff down so that
I don't think it's going to turn those much because they're all part of his abilities.
But if you turn his attributes down,
at least they won't count for much. The strength. Especially because that would depower his moves a little bit. They always overpower every character in that game. You know that there was a game, I forget which one it was. It might have been one of the first SmackDown versus Raws. You know everything's always on a 10. Kane had his 13 strength. They never told anybody, and all the guys that ran like Game Shark stuff and that somehow figured it out by looking. Kane had a 13 strength. So there are things that they don't tell you about those games sometimes.
Well,
but even regardless, 10 strength. How many guys in that game deserve a 10 strength?
Well, actually, it's a 99.
Well, no, that's not an overall, but each attribute's only more out of 10.
Well, I think you can go 99.
Oh,
maybe
the
highest.
Well, Cena's probably got the highest.
Every time you look,
but
Cena's always the highest.
Big Show, Mark Henry, Lesnar.
Those guys should be pretty high.
Vader.
Cena's always
those would be,
the highest.
And then maybe Cena. I'll give Cena credit. He's got to be up there. But there's a lot of other guys.
Because it was Randy Orton had the highest.
Well, the overalls. Well, that makes sense. I mean, the two highest overalls that are including legends are always going to be right now Cena and Orton.
Well,
and then they kind of kayfabe the stats a little bit. Like if you're a mid-carder, like Yoshi Tatsu, I think he's got a 77 or a 70
Yoshi
something.
Tatsu.
He's going to be down there.
You sound like you're from the South.
Yoshi Tatsu.
Something that you didn't get to really run into because you run into it a lot more in story mode than when you're playing in the regular game. If you're playing a match and there's multiple characters, if say you're playing a Fatal 4-Way, a match like that, when there's multiple characters like that, it makes it really hard to target. Their targeting system needs a little bit of work.
Click L3, I know to change, it said.
But the targeting's a little bit weird because you can be standing and you go to grab a guy and you're a little off. And you grab and they're grabbing at the same time and they're right beside you and you're both grabbing and miss each other. The targeting needs a little bit of work.
Overall, it's the strongest effort in a long time. Yeah. I like the fact they drove the SmackDown versus Raw too because there's no brands. This game kind of even emphasizes that a little bit. You can make your own brands.
Oh, also in the
ECW, WCW, you can make your own. The arenas make it. You can make pretty much any arena you want. You can make real arenas, fake arenas. I think it feels a little more like a sports game now. I think, in some ways, a little bit. I mean, overall, it's a good game.
Also,
this is the collector's edition right here, which comes with a disc of Raw.
There has 2 episodes with The Rock.
Yeah, collectible card, collectible picture,
and
then the Rock unlock code. But a lot of other, like Walmart's, I think all of Walmart's come with the Rock code.
Well, apparently somewhere there had to be the ones with the Miz.
Yeah, people are getting, was it the Awesome costume?
Awesome attire.
Awesome attire, yeah, they come with tires. Yeah.
Also in the unlocks that's really worth playing through, almost every single belt that has ever...
Man. Well, except for one that I can think of, that I can't believe they didn't put in there. The Winged Eagle belt. I know the hardcore title's in there, but why not have just the Winged Eagle belt?
That belt's been in almost all the games. The fact that
been in the last couple. It wasn't 2011. It's not 2011.
No, they've had it for a lot of the... Because you can put it on the...
It's not 2011, though. I know that.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I like that title belt. That's my favorite.
You can put it on the Legends guys.
Really? Then why'd they take it out? It's already there.
Because they've put it in a bunch of times. This is the first they've used the Attitude Era belt.
Yeah, they say Attitude Era, which is
this is the first they've used the Attitude Era belt since they changed the Scratch logo in one of the games.
Are you sure? I'm sure they've had to use it since then. They've used like the Attitude Era belt.
the Undisputed.
The Disputed's been in it.
Yeah, so this is the first they've used the Attitude Era belt since probably the No Mercy.
There's a belt
games.
there that we even.
The King of
Champion of Champions.
Champion of Champions.
The
Champion of Champions.
And they gave it to Yoshitatsu,
which has to do with the storyline.
It has to. I mean, we haven't got way through it, or I haven't really read past that to see what's going on.
I don't want to talk too much about storylines.
No, I don't want to give it away either. And I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff in a good way. It's some stuff is like fantasy, you know, like it could never happen in real life. And then some stuff is stuff that could practically happen in a real show. If it was written well, like, you know, this game.
Oh.
Which is funny. You know what that means? You know, it's funny. They take longer to write this game than they do a Raw. They rewrite Raw 8 times or whatever last Monday. Brodus Clay has still not debuted in the last 2 weeks because they can't get him in there. Ross has been sitting backstage waiting for his stupid segment with Cool, and they keep pushing that back.
Oh, no, they have that.
No, they have. There's another one he's supposed to have.
Another one?
Yeah. Well, now... This game has a storyline that obviously has been very well detailed for actually like 3 years probably, because there is an 11-month gap in there. You got to think they got to write what's going to happen between there to get to point B. Well, like that means that this game has had that much more development writing time when the real writers can't do that. But yet a video game,
well, technically
which would be a lot easier to do it for. I understand
the Road to WrestleMania storyline. Is there 3 characters or 4 characters?
3.
Play.
3. It's Sheamus, Triple H, and then a created character named Jacob Cass. I guess I say his last name.
I thought it was Classic. Jacob Classic.
No, it's Jacob Cass, which makes him sound like he's from like Nebraska.
But which if you don't know who he is, apparently it was the dude in the shadows in the commercial. That's
yes, because that's in his entrance video.
Yeah,
which he has his own entrance music. And it's cool. You can use all those in the created character, or there's when you're going into like edit someone's theme song, there are like 2 pages of just completely.
Oh, there was more than that. It was like 4 pages of music.
Well, okay, it was
There's
a lot.
4 pages of music.
Just random stuff. Something. 1 or 2 of them are like the American National, like Star Spangled Banner. There's some really weird ones.
Yeah,
there's some really good ones, like that one, like Ladies' Night.
Yeah.
And it ended up being this like weird, like funky song. There's some really cool synth songs. There's some good rock metal kind of stuff that you.
There's an old Leander song that.
Yeah.
It's just in there for no
just
reason.
Kind of throw it in there.
It was like, hey, see if you can find this.
Hey, use this. But they paid for it.
Yeah, it's cool because
those things are great.
Because with the created characters, you can have how many created characters?
It's a lot now. 50?
Something like that. And if you think about it, like in the older games, they gave you maybe like 4 songs that were like original type songs.
I mean, a lot of people now use their custom soundtracks.
Yeah.
But the thing is these songs are like wrestling songs. These are the songs that you would come out to. You could just pick a normal song.
That even took them a long while to get into the games, was the custom soundtrack. Because for years you had to use.
Yep.
But yeah, if you're not using your own music and you're just using the in-game music,
there are songs in there that inspired me to make certain guys, and I like wrestling theme songs. I mean, I will use normal songs for things, but they gotta have a good. Like, I don't want a song that has a damn 40-second long intro before it really kicks in, because you're the ring, you know, like Spotlight Hog guys. So I love wrestling music, and we think that Jim Johnston, the master of wrestling theme songs, had to make some of these. Some of these are just brilliant.
Some of the themes actually sound like they would be like late '80s, early '90s themes.
Yeah, I wonder.
Which is kind of cool.
I wonder if these were like rejected WWE themes, because now they don't use them much. Maybe these are ones that he's just had around for a while.
Well, not even that. It could be one that he wrote for somebody and they never used it.
Yeah, exactly. They released them or something.
We talked about this while we were playing the game. The Lesnar in the game almost seems like I don't know how. I guess he's an unlockable in the storyline. I don't know if you run into him in the storyline.
Yeah, I don't know. We got the code.
Yeah, the all unlockable.
The all unlockable, because we got the online, not online access. What's that called? Fan access.
Fan access.
Where you get everything and you get it for a cheaper price than you would buy if you buy it separate.
Yeah, it's definitely a deal if you're a fan that wants everything and you're going to buy everything. It's cheaper.
Yeah, because there's a lot of DLC coming on. Randy Savage, Batista, McFoley, already Michael Cole, Jim Ross, Shawn Michaels. Yeah. The Divas are coming out.
Which they've
that's quite a
announced.
lot. That's
They
quite a lot.
announced that there's going to be a downloadable character that they're keeping secret right now. It's going to be a downloadable character that's never been in.
Oh yeah, they did say it was Savage.
Any
It
of
was
the games.
Savage.
No.
He was never in.
But
Oh, no, he's
no,
not-
they said it hasn't been in.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Really?
It's
Earthquake. That'd be awesome.
No, he was a downloadable character a couple years ago. I'm wondering if it's Owen Hart, just because of the fact.
No, Owen's pretty much stricken off the record.
But the weird thing about Lesnar, which we did say
Has Kerry Von Erich been in the game before?
Texas Tornado, I think has.
Yeah.
I
I could see them using
Like he
him.
said, Macho Man Randy Savage is one that's been announced.
Yep. Foley.
Foley.
In like
But
modern
the-
Foley, it kind of looks like Cash
The
Jack a little
Lesnar,
bit.
back to the Lesnar thing. Lesnar in the game almost looks like if he were to return,
Yeah.
or if he had never left. He's got like trunks with a weird design on the back that we've never seen
No,
before.
it's hard to see what it looks like too. It looks like there's
And
a lot
with
going
the
on.
new tattoo on the chest,
Yeah.
it almost looks as if
Yeah, I
It's-
wish it was just either. I wish it was just classic Lesnar, no tattoo, the
which
old
is really
like that.
strange that they
the
didn't
logo.
do that. I mean,
There had to be something going on with that. I'm sure WWE likes to make new logos and do things like
Well,
that so
there's
they can
also-
republish that for information. Who knows if they're making a Lesnar DVD down the road? They
Well,
might
they-
make
they had
a
one,
retrospective, well, a new one. Think about it. He's so hot right now.
you could
He's
they
got a
do
paper-
that though? With
Yeah, he's in the game. WWE works with him. He's in the game.
I know
All
that
they
they've
can
been
do is throw him
trying.
on there, and they won't mention MMA. They'll give it's like it's kind of like a legacy career box set
Well, I know
where they
that-
have like 2 discs of Lesnar's best matches.
I know that they have been in talks to try and get him back.
I don't think he'll ever come back. I don't think he's in physical health that he can come back outside maybe 1 or 2 matches.
Oh, I think he could actually.
I know
do it.
MMA in a lot of ways is stricter, but you only fight every 6 months,
Yeah,
if that.
It's a little bit more physically demanding if you have injuries.
And in wrestling, though, you're taking bumps all the time. You might not take a bump as much. You might get hit in the face a lot more, sure, but you're not going to be taking back bumps. And he's got
Yeah,
intestinal
but
or stomach
learn
or
to
that
take,
problems
You
are.
learn to take bumps.
Yeah, but they still say that that doesn't mean that
yeah.
they don't hurt in the morning.
But I mean,
There's a lot more going on. Especially if you do it more than one time. You might do that. I mean, I don't think he'd ever do a full house show. It'd be like The Undertaker or Triple H or those guys that just kind of come and go. But he's big enough now to where he don't even really need to be at Raw and the pay-per-view. But I don't think he can even handle that. I just don't think he can.
we're gonna have a special since the game's out. We're gonna have a special where we'll actually show.
Yeah, we're gonna
Some
play the
game
damn
footage.
game. We're gonna play it. We'll have the camera kind of facing that, and we'll do bullshit. And you can kind of probably see us off camera. It'll be up soon. It'll just be. We'll play random guys and screw around and see what we can do. Why
And
not?
with that, let's get to
I
the
guess.
news.
Yeah, we guess we're better.
Otherwise, this is gonna be a 2-hour.
Yeah, this
Epic.
might be a long one. Bison Smith died. I know you've never heard of him. I've watched some of his matches, mostly
I'd say most people.
Pro Wrestling No and ROH. Well, you're Mr. Japan with all your top 5s. I'm surprised you never heard of him. I mean, not that you don't follow Noah as much, but 38 heart conditions, heart problem in Puerto Rico. He died.
Yeah.
Always seems a little suspicious when a wrestler dies in Puerto Rico.
Well, considering Bruiser Brody.
Yeah, Bruiser Brody. But I'll tell you though, heart condition at 38.
That's almost got
9 times out of 10, if you're a pro wrestler, you have a heart condition or
drugs,
something. I mean, I tried to look up a little bit of news. I really like more on him. Probably autopsy will be coming. I mean, it's sad. He was a good wrestler. Seemed like a nice guy. I was reading an interview. They made a retrospective of him on the Fight Network. It's a network out of, I think it's Great Britain's network. It's nothing but MMA and wrestling and like boxing. And he seems like a nice guy. He's a big dude, man. He kind of looks like Vader, but skinnier with a little more muscle. And kind of looks like Kenta Kobashi a little bit in body build.
I thought he looked like Mantar.
But he's kind of weird. But he's a really good wrestler. It's sad to see a guy like that go. I mean, anytime where a wrestler really catches you off guard,
Yeah. Well,
it seems to be it's much worse.
we've been pretty fortunate because
There hasn't been any recently.
I mean, Macho Man was pretty much the last one.
Yeah.
Um,
At least his, though, wasn't something like this. I know he died of a heart attack, but when you live that long, there is a chance you can die of a heart attack. But dying at 38, a tragic death is a lot worse. Is much worse.
But it's nowhere near.
Escape Jeff Hardy's death. I mean, seriously, it's surprising that him or Matt didn't die in the summer. Honestly,
but if you look back a year, you know, probably 2 years back, the last 2 years, you know, 2010 and 2009. You look at how many wrestlers died in that 2 year period, and it was a lot. There were some back to back.
Yeah,
it was almost once, like every other month.
There
was a different wrestler.
It's sad. I mean, there's been some weird deaths, but
it's gotten better because
it's gotten better. But I'll tell you, it's going to get better probably in 10 years when, like they say now, a lot of the wrestlers aren't like party animals. They aren't. They say a lot of them are pretty boring guys. They sit and they go and they bitch on Twitter.
Stevie Richards.
And they go play video games. I'm serious. They say they say they go and they sit and they play video games and they bitch on Twitter. They're not like they might go out and party, but that's no different than the party guys that go out like on like a Friday night. They're not the kind of guys that are going out doing cocaine like all the crazy guys did in the 80s and shit. Or ECW guys, which are known for a lot of them.
You also got to look at the time period. You know,
that's what I mean. It's just wrestling's grown up in a lot of ways. It's matured in a lot of ways. Kayfabe's not what it used to be.
What you have to look at
the social media and the internet's made things a lot different in general, not just in wrestling but in everything. And video games are bigger, things like that are bigger. You know, not everyone needs to go out and do that stuff.
If you compare pro wrestling with, say, the music industry, in the '80s there was a lot of partying.
That's true.
The '90s. The drugs changed, but
for the worse.
Yeah, but
and you got weirder drugs.
But starting in the 2000s I would say that's where everything started to go in a different direction. And you look at a lot of musicians now; they're the same way. They play video games. They get online.
A lot of them are really big health nuts.
Yeah, they don't party anymore. I think it has to do with the social consciousness of everybody. Yeah. Not so much. Plus, you got to look at with wrestling, the guys in the 80s, hard partiers. The guys in the 90s came in, looked up to these guys in the 80s. They were being taught, the stuff handed down. It was more of a party.
It wasn't as party as bad as the 80s, though.
And then a lot of the guys...
There's not so many jobs either, so you had to keep you to be a little better with,
You look at a lot of the guys in the late 90s, early 2000s. You had a lot of the younger guys at that time that saw the way things were being run. They saw these guys, going out and getting all messed up and then coming in and doing these matches. And, they were became more focused on their careers, Chris Jericho.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those guys. Yeah.
And now that's what you're seeing a lot of the newer guys are coming in and they're more focused on their career and basically, trying to keep themselves healthy so that they have longer careers. So I think it's an evolution of sorts, not the...
It's a legitimization of it too as an actual profession.
But I think...
And the kind of sport that it almost is. You don't hear of MMA guys going out and getting shit-faced. Not all the
unless
time.
you watch Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, well, that's because a lot of those guys are douchebags. They pick them like that on purpose.
If you look at any sports, baseball, you look at a lot of the guys in baseball, a lot of those guys do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're health nuts, they're Twittering, they're playing the Major League Baseball games. But I will mention something interesting. Foley's book, what was the
first one?
Countdown to Lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
I was reading that not too long ago, and he was talking about steroids. And he gave both sides. Basically he said negative things, he said positive things, but something I found interesting was he talked about that if you look at ratings for baseball, like attendance, during the Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire run, which both guys have admitted to use steroids, their attendance records were through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
And then you look at attendance records now, and they're terrible. So he was saying that maybe if Major League Baseball would allow the guys to use steroids, because he talked about at the height of steroids being rampant with Barry Bonds and all those guys that admitted to doing it. If you look at people going to baseball games at that time and watching it on TV, it was a lot higher than it is
Oh
now.
yeah, of
So
course. Oh yeah.
it kind of makes you wonder if, like, in some ways, it's called a sports enhancement. You know, it kind of does enhance.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can tie this into R-Truth being suspended. Wellness policy suspension. I don't know if
the legal weed. I called it.
I know you did. The thing is I don't know if it was that, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that we both have heard that R-Truth definitely is a friend of the green plant,
Yes.
and so I'm assuming it's that. R-Truth doesn't look like the kind of guy that does steroids, even though he's pretty jacked up for a guy his body build. I don't think. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you. I can tell you this.
But still, regardless. Now, my interesting thing is do you think ties into the Bourne conspiracy? Maybe he was one of those. Maybe he was one of the guys that was at the. We talked about that. What if maybe it did, word did get out about Bourne being. You remember, it wasn't the leak that Bourne was one of those guys, and that there was these bigger card guys that were there, and no one got suspended. All of a sudden, R-Truth, here you go.
We talked about before.
Right after they didn't need him, they waited.
I guess it was around almost 2 years ago. There was close to 20 guys that failed the wellness policy all at one time.
Yeah.
And they were suspending people left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember Edge being one of them, but he had the neck injury at the time and had a prescription for the steroids that he was taking, and they still suspended him. But there were like 15 to 20 guys that were all suspended. That had failed. They suspended half the guys at that time. The other half were bigger name guys. Some of them had championships. What they did was they found ways to have them lose the belt. Then they suspended them. And when they suspended them, instead of really coming out and saying, "Oh, this guy's suspended," they faked an injury.
Well,
where the guy got hurt.
Now they're talking about bringing Truth back as a face.
Yeah, I figured.
And selling Little Jimmy merchandise, which I can so see you wearing like
little Jimmy hat.
Little Jimmy hats.
Little Jimmy coats.
That's right. Yeah, I can see you wearing like a Little Jimmy shirt, but it makes sense with the way I do like how Miz.
Well, let me say this real quick, kids out there, if you're gonna have sex.
One kid out there.
Kids out there, if you're gonna have sex, make sure you wear a Little Jimmy.
That's probably why Vince wants to make it shirts. That's like a perfect attitude era face kind of thing. So I guess we'll go from there. We'll go right into Survivor Series and Raw.
Let me say this real quick. As far as
no, we're on a strict time schedule now.
Apparently we're not. It's almost 2 in the morning.
Dude, I have no idea how long we've already been filming. We talked a lot about it.
As far as the wellness policy thing goes, what I've noticed in the past is you can kind of guess what people were suspended for, because if it's steroids, the guy's gone at least a month.
Well, they're automatically suspended 30 days.
Yeah, but
they have to be. That's the first offense.
If it's steroids, it's usually a few months. They're usually going 3 or 4 months. If they got busted for something less, like, smoking weed, it's it's a month top, and they're back.
Well, they have to be 30 days technically. That's how the.
But some of them,
written.
Some of them, it's a little bit longer.
Well, it's 30, and then I think it's a 90 or a 60. They got an actual policy to it.
By telling on how long the guy's going, you can usually tell what kind of drug it was they were busted.
Yeah.
for.
So, what do you think of the Survivor Series? I know. I mean, you came down with Captain Chirps last week. I don't know if anyone gets that reference, but we'll see what happens going.
I don't.
The Stand. It's the virus in The Stand, the Stephen King book.
Well,
they call it one of the nicknames was Captain Chirps.
We talked about it.
I know, yeah, but you called me up. We were talking about it on the phone.
My illness. I was bit by a zombie.
Oh yeah.
You had to go to the mall and fight off a bunch of zombies.
Got your Zombrex, picked it up at the pharmacy,
and now I'm all better.
All right. For 24 hours, because in that you have to take it every 24 hours.
Yeah.
This is real life though. Zombrex is a permanent cure. Damn it. That's just dramatic stuff for fictional things.
Even though you might not show symptoms, Zombrex. Yeah. Survivor Series.
Well, Survivor Series and Raw, both of them. You know, before and after.
Well, okay.
It's been a
Survivor
while.
Series.
You have 2 weeks of shows to talk about.
Survivor Series. If you didn't, I don't want to say buy it, but
If you didn't see it,
if you didn't see it, shame on you, because it was probably
you
the
should
best.
buy it or rent it or however you
do that. If you didn't watch it, buy it. I don't care.
If you watched it, buy it.
Exactly. It was the best pay-per-view they've had since SummerSlam. You know,
better
as far
than
as
SummerSlam.
being
It's better. The only good match at SummerSlam was really the Summer of Punk stuff in the Punk Cena.
it's been so long I didn't really remember.
Well, remember,
But I figured it was one of the big.
Punk and Cena. It was. I think it's probably better than WrestleMania. WrestleMania was okay this year. It wasn't that
It
great.
was.
Wasn't spectacular. The Rock shit was stupid. The fact that the main event ended in a DQ and then they had to restart the match. Remember that? Remember in a count out? And The Rock did his shit. That was kind of dumb.
But yeah, it was probably, I'm guessing now, talking one of the best pay-per-views they've had of the year.
Card for card, match for match. I mean, the only matches that really were throwaways was the pretty bad. Was it even?
Kelly?
No, the Beth Phoenix.
Yes.
Natalia was a lumberjill match.
Which I hate those.
Yeah, and also, man, Eve was screwing stuff up. Beth Phoenix was kind of screwing stuff up. But I'll tell you, Eve's stupid booty
It's that
shaking,
damn legal weed.
That booty shaking moonsault is the dumbest move.
Okay, wait.
Foley used to bitch about the people's elbow.
Let me say
this is much worse.
Let me say this.
Much worse.
That did not work when... What the hell was Victoria's name before... Victoria.
You mean Tara now?
Yeah, but when she was Victoria, for some reason...
Did she do a booty shake?
Yes, you don't remember... She used to, like, stand, and she'd, like, shake her butt, and then she'd do that
she'd start her toes and work her way up and do this weird thing. Yeah,
yes, it did not work when she did it.
Dude,
it doesn't work when Eve does it.
Skank. Like the skankiest of skanks. It looks so stupid.
If I want to see that stuff, I'll watch, MTV, rap, whatever. Do they still have a rap show? I don't even know.
MTV, we're going to watch you MTV raps. We'll just stick with that.
Or
they brought back Beavis and Butthead. We're going to see that back.
Or
Dr. Dre and Ed Lover.
Or BT. I'll watch a rap video of some sort if I want to see that.
You've done better there.
And I don't, that's why I don't like rap videos. I don't like seeing the whole butt shake thing. It's kind of just a weird thing in general.
It was just stupid, too. I mean, and I don't know, that match wasn't that great, but
okay,
the rest of the card was amazing. Starting off with Ziggler.
Real quick, let me
and
say
Morrison.
this for women out there right now that if you're watching this and you feel offended because I'm talking about how gross the butt shake thing is, imagine if your boyfriend or whatever is standing in front of you shaking his balls. There's no difference. It's not attractive. Just don't do it.
It's just weird. But it started off with Ziggler and Morrison for the U.S. title. That match was like bringing down the house. I don't think anyone was expecting either.
A lot of people said that
Morrison's been working his ass off in this last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
A lot of people actually said
that
they thought that match stole the whole show.
I could probably see that.
Which is funny because
that was a good match.
A lot of the pay-per-views.
Ziggler's been solid.
A lot of the pay-per-views that they've had, like that's happened. Where the very first opening match has been the best one.
First match, they always say, first match sets a tempo. It also it gets the crowd into it.
But how's the first match set the tempo if it's the showstopper, the show stealer, and like everything goes downhill after that?
I don't think the match was intended to be. It just happened to be that the two guys just worked together really well. But the fact that the Madison Square Garden in New York City has probably the best wrestling crowd, especially for WB, because WB is out of New York. They've always had that crowd.
It's the only time that I'm aware of, it's the only arena that they ever use that the entrances are the other direction.
No, the entrance was the right way this time. And
usually they use those side entrances.
Well, apparently they renovated. Well, they didn't for WrestleMania 20. WrestleMania 20, they did the same thing. They still used the entrance they did there. But if you remember our Survivor Series a couple years back, they had they used that entrance that was straight ahead of the ring was here, then the entrance, you could see it.
The WrestleMania, I don't remember which year it was, where...
WrestleMania 20 was there when the Boyhood Dream Team came happen. There was no winner in that match. That wasn't that Canadian guy.
No, the year that they had the street fight with Cactus Jack and Triple H, they used the side entrances.
You mean the one where you could see it, like when you're watching the matches that was behind it, or was it on the like?
It's
like
on.
When you're watching the thing and your ring's in front of you, was it on the left, right, or
okay?
in front?
If this is the ring, the normal entrance, they come out that way.
No, the ring comes out this way. When you're watching it, the entrance is that way to your left.
Here's what I'm saying.
We're watching TV camera. You're on the TV camera side. Where's the entrance?
Okay, if the hard,
that's the easy way for everyone out there at home. The millions watching at home. Well, no.
That probably don't
the millions
what we're talking about. But okay,
we're gonna get into this debate.
If the hard camera is right here, okay.
Yeah.
This is your ring. Your entryway is right there.
Okay.
If it's Madison Square Garden, the hard camera's here, the ring's here, and your entryways are
yeah, so you can see the entry.
The whole entire match.
Yeah. WrestleMania 20s wasn't like that, but Survivor Series the year where I don't know why I remember this. Lesnar.
Maybe you don't remember.
Lesnar turned heel with Heyman.
Yeah.
I think it's the Big Show.
It would have been before that because he had that whole feud with Taker.
Rock. Wasn't it against Rock? Wasn't that when he beat The Rock, or was that at SummerSlam?
No, that was
it. It was a Lesnar.
That was WrestleMania.
It was a no, Lesnar and Rock never fought at WrestleMania.
Oh no, it was SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. Well, it might have been right after. It might have been the Survivor Series. I don't want to say it was a Big Show. It was. I remember that.
No, because he went right to Taker after that.
No. I think he fought. Well, it might have been the year after. Could have been the year after that. Anyways, we're splitting hairs. So it was. The crowd was great. The crowd's always good at Madison Square Garden.
Especially since they hate Cena.
I actually was thinking, I think that's why they picked to put The Rock there. Because the Madison Square Garden's always... Michael Cole mentioned that the world title changed there 17 times. And 18 after Punk won. The most any arena has ever had a WWE title change.
Well, that's more...
I guess he meant world title, I think the way he was saying.
That's more title reigns than Flair's had, so...
Yeah, exactly. So think about that. So...
Let's go into...
what did you think about the... well, we'll get to the two big matches everyone wants to talk about in a second. So to ask you about this, the Big Show and Mark Henry match.
Didn't like it. I thought it was dumb that, they did the whole him grabbing the chair and going after Mark Henry and
he did the low blow to DQ.
Yeah,
the low blow to DQ was really weird.
It was bad.
I didn't like.
I call that TNA writing.
The other weird thing that I thought was I know that in some ways shows looked unstoppable to Henry.
The only two matches that I thought were terrible that night were, when you've just talked about both of them, was the Eve Lumberjack match.
That was really bad.
Terrible.
That was pretty bad.
And the show Mark Henry match, just because nothing really happened in that match.
They booked it wrong. You're booking the return match of two guys that broke a ring, right?
Exactly.
Right? This should have been the epic struggle of the two biggest guys in what I would bill as, on purpose, because wrestling's never about what's really happening, it's about perception. The two biggest guys in wrestling, physically biggest. And they before the match, they showed them like reinforcing the ring. They didn't use it much. They didn't build. Big Show did do a damn elbow drop off the top.
Yes, which was awesome.
Oh my! And dude, the way he was all the then the Cole and like Booker T were like, "Don't do it! Don't do it!" And they had Mark Henry play a coward.
He should have
been like, "Dude, I'm gonna try to fight you man to man."
If you rewatch that and you listen to the thump when he lands, I mean,
they might have turned the mic up.
Even if they did, there's no way
it's a perception.
There's no way that somebody standing outside buying popcorn at that time wasn't like, what the hell was that noise? Did something just explode?
Dude, Show worked his ass off. I saw him do an arm drag. That was surprising.
It was not to rip off Michael Cole vintage Big Show, but it was very similar to the way he used to wrestle in WCW when he was.
Which is surprising because he's a lot bigger and he's a lot older. He's a lot older, exactly. His body's really starting to fall apart on him, but. No, Henry was playing as coward, like an old coward heel, and was backing out of the ring and being scared. And then the other weird thing was I wanted they first started They did a headlock. I like really big man matches. I remember as a kid watching Raw. It was Mabel and Yokozuna, and they came out and they like tightened all the ropes and stuff because they had
I
problems.
hate
with
those matches because
I like that because if you build it up and you have these two guys and they just slug the shit out of each other like a big ass heavyweight
then you end up with
I like it.
classic WWE Hogan.
It doesn't have to be.
Hogan Ultimate Warrior from what was that, WrestleMania 5?
Whatever WrestleMania was. Just say it WrestleMania, and then that way the dorks don't go in there and go, "It's WrestleMania 3, stupid." I know that wasn't WrestleMania 3, but that was Andre and Hogan.
I'm pretty sure it was WrestleMania 5.
I think it was.
They did the double clothesline, laid there for like 10 minutes.
They didn't have to do it like that.
I hate that stuff. That's why I don't like big man matches.
They didn't have to do that. No, they didn't. Well, they did do that for a little bit, and it got kind of boring in this match.
Almost every...
But no, they just have to beat the shit out of each other. I want them to be slugging each other, and I want to see them. I don't want to see them go to the ground. I don't want to see him go to the ground. What happens? The first headlock, Show pushes Henry, and Henry falls down. Then he gets back. Henry pushes Show, and Show doesn't fall down. Immediately, you knew that Henry looked like a weaker man. To me, I would have built that these guys were completely equal, and that they were just two giant forces of just like two like magnets that were like just like clashing, right? And they could knock each other down, and that that Show had his punch. That was his equalizer, and but Henry had the champions. What's that called? Like the champions, like where you have to win the match in the ring, right? So maybe he gets Show outside the ring because he doesn't care. He can just go out there and beat the shit out of him. But like he can't back down. If he backs down, he looks like a coward. Now for me, forever, I think as a champion, I will think of Henry as a coward. When he should have been. Before that, he was built as the Hall of, doing the Hall of Pain. He was this guy that was just destroying every wrestler came in his path, was killing Daniel Bryan every week practically. And then all of a sudden he's a coward when he finally met a guy his size, which to me just didn't fit the character.
Well, no, it kind of makes sense. He's a bully.
That's true. That's true. But Henry can't pull off he can't act. I guess is what I'm saying. So the best way to act with a guy that can't act in wrestling is to have him be really stoic and be really like Benoit couldn't act worth a shit, right?
Who?
Exactly. He couldn't act worth a shit. So what they do, they made him a stoic character that was just came in. He was going to beat your brains down. My name's Braden Walker, and I'm going to bash your brains in. I mean, something like that. Just
a classic example.
I would have loved to have seen just a slugfest.
A classic example.
Clotheslines are not knocking each other over. They're using the ropes to stay up. And then like something happens and one of them gets knocked down and like just something crazy and they can still come up with a screw job bending a little bit, but the weird thing is they're not going on with that story.
Good.
They haven't, because Daniel Bryan went to cash in the Money in the Bank because Show punched out Henry, but then Henry wasn't eligibly cleared to wrestle because of physical problems, because of Big Show's leg drop onto a chair that was like the Pillman, but it was a leg drop. Thing, which was kind of odd, and so Bryan then won a fatal 4-way at the end of the night to be #1 contender, so they're not even having Show and Henry wrestle at the next pay-per-view, which seems kind of weird to me. But I mean, the Barrett Orton match was kind of forgettable. It's sad, but CM Punk Del Rio was decent. Was pretty good.
You owe me ice cream.
I do owe you an ice cream bar. We'll have to eat those on the show.
I knew immediately that you were going to owe me ice cream bars when...
I know what you're going to say.
When Del Rio came out first. And on top of that...
I knew it too.
That CM Punk brought in his own ring announcer, which was Howard Finkel. I knew anytime they usually give a guy a special entrance... they win the title.
I know.
So it was a dead giveaway for me. I was like, yes!
When I first saw it, I was like, son of a bitch, Mick. You're pretty much right on that almost every time. There's only 1 or 2 times they've done it. I don't understand why they do it in general. Could you imagine in boxing if the champion came out first?
Well, supposedly...
Or in MMA.
They used to mention this, and I think they just gave it up, but... apparently, it's the champion's preference.
Right.
If he wants to come out first,
I think I've heard that or something before.
That's what they used to say. It depends on who you're going against. It would make sense. If you come out first, you have a chance to jump the guy.
Or if the guy jumps you all the time, then that way you know that you know what I mean? Like,
he can't jump you because...
Or you make him go up, then you make him go up first, because in that way he can't jump you as much, because then he'd already have to be in there.
Yeah, but you can jump him. You got your eyes on him. He can't jump you, so you can get him to his face. Yeah, it's the champion's prerogative thing.
But still, that's stupid. If I was Del Rio's a pompous ass, that's his character, he would not want to come out first. Think about it.
It's kind of true.
Heels like that, like those kind of guys, don't want to come out first.
But the thing of it is
Austin would be the kind of guy who wouldn't give two shits. He'd come out first. He's ready to beat some ass.
They have changed it up because that used to be my dead giveaway. If the champion came out first, he was losing the belt.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a couple times.
There has been. Oh yeah.
In the last probably 2 years.
Case study would be an interesting one of that. Yeah. Try to go back and go to like every world title especially and see who came out first and who won.
There has been a couple where the champion came out first and still kept the belt.
Yeah.
Another dead giveaway that for me is, say, Alberto Del Rio. This is a good case. Alberto Del Rio on Monday night, well, the Monday before Survivor Series, ended up getting the upper hand over CM Punk. He had him in that armbar. Whoever is the last guy to get over...
It's the opposite, the winner.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty common, too.
So, another match is like... I'm trying to think what other matches were that night.
There had to be one.
Well, the Orton Wade Barrett one.
Yeah.
We don't watch SmackDown, but...
Why?
Wade Barrett probably got over on Orton right before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I don't know.
Therefore, you knew Orton was going to win.
I hate both guys.
That's always...
I can't stand either Barrett or Orton.
That's always
and by proxy, I hated that match.
That's always a dead giveaway in wrestling. Another one is... Whoever brings the weapon into the ring never actually gets to use the weapon. They always have it used on them. Well, that's another rule.
Talking about the...
I'm pretty sure almost every time I've watched matches, and I noticed it kind of... Whoever, like, leads at the beginning of the match, whoever, like, basically throws the first, like, punch, move, whatever it is, it's usually the guy that loses.
Well, what do you think of Sin Cara's injury? It was pretty bad. It was pretty gross.
It looked faked to me.
No, it was bad. I sat when I saw it. I replayed it a few times.
It looked as if
it was pretty bad.
They were both jumping out at the same time.
Right, but when Sin Cara went to plant, his leg gave out, and he went over the ropes. I think because he's still trying to make it look like a move, but at the same time, his running, he didn't get any spring, dude. His momentum just kind of carried him.
When you're watching,
I'll keep going so it doesn't look as bad.
When you're watching when you're watching it live, you didn't know what was going on. So
no, of course not.
What it looked like, what it looked like was that he hesitated for a second, the jump, because he didn't want to collide in midair.
Yeah.
And then chickened out at the last second and held onto the rope too long. And
I think the only reason why he held onto that rope was
it's because
scared reaction.
Well, you can tell that
he was trying to also land so that he wouldn't land on that leg. He's trying to turn a little bit just to take some energy off.
You could tell that he heard
he wasn't going to hit
before he jumped.
I forget who he was landing on. I think Kofi was landing on Hunico, and
was it Cody?
Might have no. It was one of the other guys that wasn't Swagger, because I think Swagger was already gone by this time. Because Swagger was the first guy eliminated because he already had that match earlier. But he knew that he wasn't going to catch him.
Was, I think, the second.
Yeah, they just kicked him out of the match.
That was pretty early.
He knew he wasn't going to hit that guy, so he knew that he wasn't going to be able to take any of that energy, and so he knew he only had one leg to do it on.
Let's look at the history of the guy. So he comes in.
I know.
See, what I thought at first it was fake because of the fact that WrestleMania, when he was in the Money in the Bank match, he did that flip onto the ladder. They said he was hurt, and they took him out because he was undefeated, and they didn't want to, have him lose in the Money in the Bank.
Right.
I thought it was another one of those. I thought they were doing that again because when they said he got injured, I thought it was when he he hit the apron with his leg, and that
Right.
looked so bad.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, that looks fake.
No, yeah. If you were to rewatch it, you
But,
can watch his leg buckle, like do that weird thing where like when you stand, your leg like
But
twists like unnaturally.
Let's look
You
at
can see
the
it.
greatness that is Sin Cara. He debuts.
Oh, it screws up his entrance.
Shortly after he debuts, and it was right after they did the fake injury at WrestleMania, which was funny. He gets suspended for the wellness policy. So then they replace him. That guy, which I,
Sin Cara Negro.
love him or hate him.
He wasn't that great as Sin Cara.
I think he had a better run. He was less flawless. The other, like Mystico, is pretty sloppy. He botches.
I
a
never
lot
really saw much of
moves.
his stuff in Mexico, so I'm not sure. But I don't know if it's nerves or I think part of it is he hasn't had a chance to work at WWE style. Mexican wrestling, there is no such thing as chaining moves together. Just do a couple moves, the guy rolls the outside, and there comes like 6 guys flipping in the air.
Another thing I know is apparently, I forget who it is backstage, is doing all the translating for it. He doesn't really speak English.
No.
Whereas
Ray did.
the second Sin Cara, which
Hunico.
Hunico.
He worked in Florida Championship for a while.
He speaks perfect English, mainly because he was born here.
Yeah, we looked that up. He was born in America. Texas.
I think they dropped the ball by having Mystico be the guy to keep the Sin Cara gimmick. Because
the thing
now...
is there's nothing stopping you from just stop using Hunico and just have him go back to being Sin Cara, though.
Except everybody knows it. It's kind of dumb.
Nah,
It's like, we forgot that this guy...
WWE has not came out and said anything about Sin Cara. Sin Cara being injured. I don't think. They said he was injured on the thing.
Yeah, but they haven't really officially said...
All they gotta do is come out, like, Hunico isn't really doing anything anymore. So, wait a month. All of a sudden, Sin Cara's back from injury. Sin Cara's back from injury. That's it. You just say that. Sin Cara's back from injury.
Just hire another Mexican. And it's almost as if...
What's Juventud doing right now? We need a full body suit. He's got all the tattoos. What else?
Also, the height. He's a really short, skinny guy. No,
Chavo.
Vince.
Chavo Guerrero.
Well, Chavo had that.
He'd be perfect.
He already had that.
He kind of wrestle.
Well, remember, he had that.
American style.
There was a storyline where he kept saying that
See?
Sin Cara stole all his moves.
But I'm saying, he can wrestle the American style. He doesn't have any tattoos or marks. He need the tan, though. Sin Cara's like red.
It's pretty sad to tell a Mexican they have to tan.
To play a Mexican.
Well,
I mean, he's playing a character of his own race, but he's like white.
Here's the thing.
Chavo's a lot whiter than all the other guys.
WWE and Vince has been, especially Vince, has been accused of, a little bit of a racism in wrestling.
No.
You bring a guy in. You bring in Mystico, you make him Sin Cara. He gets injured, or actually suspended. You replace him with another Mexican wrestler.
Yeah.
Now you're in the same situation you were in before. What do? Do you get another Mexican wrestler? It's, it's almost as if his thinking is, I bought a goldfish. I brought it home. The goldfish lived for one day. I'll just go buy another goldfish.
Yeah, but Hunico's wrestled a Mexican
I'll just go buy another
style.
goldfish. My kid will never know the difference because all goldfish look alike.
Yeah, but that's because Hunico wrestled a Mexican style.
But I'm just saying that it's...
It wasn't like he was being racist. He wasn't being racist. He wasn't being racist. One thing, you got to fix the part. Okay, if a black guy dies during filming, you're not going to get a white guy to replace the character. You're going to get a black guy.
You're not going to put me in this corner again this week.
No. It's a hypothetical. You got to get someone that looks the part, right? I mean, it's just honest.
Well, there's a difference between using a body double in a movie. Indiana Jones...
It's fine. I am completely fine with them picking a guy the same race. Actually, probably be racist if they didn't do it, because then it'd be like, then any white guy can play a Mexican guy.
What's the second Indiana Jones movie?
I don't know which one's which. The last one's the one with Sean Connery.
Well,
the fourth one doesn't exist.
The one with The Rock, where, the guy takes the hearts out.
Temple of Doom?
That's what I thought.
The first one's
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders,
Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
So Temple of Doom, Harrison Ford hurt his back. They used his stunt double for, almost the entire movie. And then had him come back when he was healthy and filmed all the close-up stuff. That's one thing. He's a body... He's a body double. It's not like...
That's what Sin Cara is, damn it. He's pretty much a body double.
But
It's a guy in a mask. You don't know who's under that damn
on.
mask.
That's the same thinking. Because
Suicide? Look at him in TNA. See?
But it's like The Exorcist.
Character could work if they ever change the name and maybe switch the character.
Exorcist 3. The actor died halfway through the filming of the movie, and they had already filmed half of the movie.
Right.
So they went and got another actor to play the same character, and they don't even say anything. Like, partway through the movie, you're watching it. Like, if you go to get popcorn and come back and go, who the fuck is that guy? Like, I just left to go get popcorn. It was gone 5 minutes. A whole different actor. Like.
Well, I guess we better get to the last match before this becomes a 3-hour-long podcast. Rock and Cena versus Miz and R-Truth was pretty much the same match that you was already expecting.
Come on.
I said they were going to go the safe route in my predictions and have Rock win instead of do anything kind of cool. Apparently some people, I was reading this, were thinking that Cena was going to turn heel on The Rock. Which, who the hell thought that? I didn't think that going into it. I don't know where anybody got that, though.
Well, apparently they were running that idea because, as of right now, the way they're looking at it, your main event for WrestleMania
it's a face versus face.
Face versus face.
It's fine. Hogan, it's one of the once in a lifetime, like they did with Austin Rock 3. They did it with Hogan Warrior. They were both faces, you know? They do it every now and then.
Yeah, they just really...
WrestleMania, you can do it.
They really don't like it, so...
One's already playing a heel, one's playing more of a face. I'll tell you in a minute when you're done.
Well, obviously, The Rock's playing more of the heel than...
No, Cena's playing more of the heel.
Really?
Yeah, Cena is becoming the Jimmy Fallon of Monday Night Raw and wrestling. He's looking at the camera. Did you notice how much he looked at the camera on
and every time somebody insults him, he laughs.
And he starts laughing now every time the crowd was, he'd laugh and look directly at the hard camera.
I tried to tell you that.
He knows it.
Cena's Mr. Freaking Nice Guy. That now, no matter what you say about Cena, oh, it's okay.
Well, that's like Fallon.
That's your opinion.
That's just like your opinion, man. Dude,
but Cena's got to be like the fucking Mr. Nice Guy. That nobody can do anything. You could run over his dog on the way to the match, and he's like, "Oh, it's okay.
It's cool. I was gonna buy another one.
Yeah, I can get another dog. It's fine. I've only had him for 15 years. I've had him since I was a kid, but it's cool, you know."
No, he's exactly.
It makes me sick. I hate him.
I think people are starting to hate him more because of this. It's almost cocky. Attitude.
He went from a few years ago of being the Marine character to being a Boy Scout.
But no, he's became more of this like. I don't know, almost like breaking the third wall kind of thing.
He reminds me
fourth wall, whatever it is.
But he reminds me of a politician.
Yeah, well that's
a guy that just basically
he's kind of W. Stooge in that way.
You know, he's like I got to look good no matter what. Like,
well, I think that it's the first time in his real career that people aren't
his real career.
Well,
you mean like his fake career that he had a couple years ago is.
People aren't booing him because he's a heel. They're booing him because they hate the man. What they used to call X-Pac heat. Or Billy Gunn heat.
But I still believe in
I like both Billy Gunn and X-Pac. I gotta put that on the record though, especially recently. These guys are
it's
really
funny because
they've been known for having heat that
this whole storyline.
Still don't like these guys.
This whole storyline
coming off more as Cena's coming off more now as this guy. You almost hate him now because he's being a dick. But being a passive-aggressive dick. He always, no matter what, there's one of the guys has got to play slightly heel, if you're a face, just to get behind one or the other. Kids are going to like Cena regardless. But you can get some of the tweener guys. I actually don't mind Cena in general.
Oh,
recently he's been terrible. What? I'm not a Cena sympathizer. He's a decent guy. His work's okay.
Oh, okay, he's a decent guy.
His work's okay.
His work's okay? It's terrible.
It's not.
He's got 5 freaking moves, and half the time
I can break down The Rock into 5 moves.
That's fine. At least The Rock knows how to do those moves. There's a lot of stuff that Cena does that is so freaking botched, man.
I've talked about
Mr. Botch.
That John Cena
so sloppy.
Is the modern day Hulk Hogan.
No, he's not. He's the Ultimate Warrior.
He's the modern day Ultimate.
He's the Ultimate Warrior. No, he's not.
Hulk Hogan had no more than that many moves.
That's fine.
Big boot, and legs are up,
Hogan knew how to pull those moves off. Cena hurts himself. He hurts other people.
He does not.
Botches.
Tell me someone else he hurt.
Falls down.
Tell me someone else he hurt.
He's hurt other guys in the past.
Name somebody.
There was a match he did with Batista where Batista.
That's because Batista's leg rolls up on him like a fruit roll-up.
It doesn't help.
Actually, that wasn't even against Cena, I don't think. I'm telling you, he is the modern-day Hulk Hogan. If Hulk Hogan was born at John Cena's age and was right now in WWE, people would boo him because he is the invincible guy. Oh man, I hate Hogan because Hogan can't lose a match, and Hogan looks like he's losing a match, and then just all of a sudden comes back.
Cena has two things going for him, and that's it. One is like he used to be really good on the mic. Now he's real freaking repetitive. He
can be okay sometimes, even recently, but sometimes he's just really dry.
Basically, Austin, like the first few years of Austin, you're like, man, this is freaking awesome. I've never seen this before. Then it got real stale because it was the same Austin. He said the same stuff all the time. Like having a script, and it's like, oh, let's see, what did I say last time? This is what I said. Cena's doing the same thing. A lot of the same stuff he keeps saying over and over. But he's good on the mic.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
He's good on the mic, and a lot of people like the way he looks, especially the females and the little kids. That's it. That's all
what Hogan was like.
Oh, Hogan.
That's what Hogan was like. Hogan was exactly that.
Hogan had personality.
No. Dude, the kids eat that shit up. And we were not 25 when Hogan came out. We'd laugh at that guy now if Hogan came out was saying, eat your prayers. Say your prayers and eat your vitamins.
Let's not turn this into a Cena.
Cena is Hogan. He's not Ultimate Warrior.
It's Warrior.
No,
but let's get to the next thing. We've already talked a lot.
Well, what did you think of the match?
What did I think of the match?
We didn't talk about the match.
One thing I liked about it was a lot of the WWE pay-per-views, they advertise them from 8 to 11. And they end up ending like
10:30.
Sometimes earlier, like 10:20, and you're like, "Wow, really?" This one went almost till 11 o'clock. I mean, it just.
But the match was okay. I don't think it was.
I thought it was a good match.
There was nothing great about it, though.
I didn't say great match. I'm sorry that your best friend didn't get to do more in the match.
No, R-Truth is
sorry that he's terrible.
One thing, people bitching about Cena never ever getting beat down and being in peril, right? Right?
That's because he doesn't know how to sell.
Who did all of the selling at Survivor Series? Rock did not.
Miz and R-Truth.
No, Rock did not get his ass beat at all. Rock was super protected that whole match. Rock got in. He went crazy. Did La Maestro Cradle. Did all this. Tags in Cena. Cena takes all the abuse of R-Truth and Miz.
But question.
All the abuse.
But question.
All of it.
Has Cena been in Hollywood for the last few years and not wrestled any matches?
Well, no.
He's wrestled on a regular basis when he's not injured.
Please, he's an actor.
I'm just saying.
No. Do you see what CM Punk's been saying about him? You see what CM Punk's been saying about Rock?
Cena or Rock?
No, about Rock. Sorry. About Rock. That he hasn't been coming out saying anything to the guys backstage. He sits back in his own little corner, acts like he's a prima donna. That's how Rock looked in that damn match. Rock didn't take any selling. I mean, honestly, I feel a little bad for Miz and R-Truth outside in that match too. They didn't get any rub whatsoever from the Rock, or even Cena. Cena's at least lost to the Miz. He, in a lot of ways, he's given up a lot to R-Truth, but yet the Rock did not. That match should not have ended with Rock and Cena winning. They already had this back and forth hating each other. They wouldn't even look at each other on the Raw before. But yet they somehow win this match, just like I was watching a house show where the good guys always got to win to send the people good home good, when they could have had an awesome ending where Rock and Cena are getting all upset and they start doing the moves on each other. The match is still going on. R-Truth and Miz sneak out a victory. Even if they go their separate ways after that, like they did on Raw, that could have been an awesome ending and set up WrestleMania.
That would have made sense.
Would have set up WrestleMania.
What happened Monday night would have made sense.
Yeah, it could have.
If they won the match.
They succeeded. They didn't. They could still be friends, but they succeeded. It's kind of like the R-rated RKO.
It was
they
about
just kind of went their separate ways.
It was about storytelling.
It was stupid.
But let's go.
The Rock was protected. I don't know if it was him. I don't know if it was WWE. I don't know if it's in his contract or what. But it was really dumb. It was really stupid because it just... The Rock worked his butt off when he did work. But when he was in the ring and he made sure he got all of his offense in, and then made Cena look like shit. He shit on him.
All right, let's move to Raw. We've been talking for a really long time.
We haven't talked for a really long time.
We haven't gotten anywhere.
This is a special. This is a special.
It's going to be a real big special.
It is.
So Raw the next night. Like I told you before, my opinion was, and you talked about how there were a bunch of different rewrites.
There's been the last couple weeks, apparently.
The first half of Raw, excellent. The second half of Raw, why?
The Ziggler match? Who was it? Ziggler?
Why?
Ziggler and who was the other guy?
What was the point of the second half of Raw? It's like they put all the stuff that should have been in the second hour, they threw in the first hour.
Right.
And it was like all the beginning stuff, the stuff that should have been in the first hour, they put in the second hour, I guess because of the whole Cena, what ended up being R-Truth and Miz.
I'm sure that they wanted to get that in.
That they tried to focus so much on that, they were afraid of the CM Punk, Dolph Ziggler match.
That match was great, man.
Yes. The CM Punk Dolph Ziggler match taking focus away, so they put that at the end of the first hour and distanced it.
They might have also been afraid that Ziggler couldn't carry a main event.
Come on.
That's
the problem.
God, he's been great.
We just
it's
talked
a Raw.
about this.
You can experiment a little more about that on that too. It's not a pay-per-view. You can experiment more.
We just talked about that.
What
WWE
to do what they want.
What WWE needs to understand is if you put a guy in an opening match that steals the show, put him in a main event.
I know, and it's only a TV. It's not. We're not talking like we're not saying
But
put him on WrestleMania.
WWE even put out a statement like a couple. I think it was about a year ago, and they even said in their own words, at that point in time, they had a lot of guys out on injury. Orton was out on injury. Triple H, like all the big name guys, and they were like, "What are we gonna do?" They thought this was their brilliant idea. We'll re-sign Sid Vicious was the thought at the time because we don't have any guys we can use. And they had all these up-and-coming guys, which Punk was one of the guys at the time, which I can understand him sitting on the stage doing the whole pipe bomb thing, like, you know, you guys don't know how to use people, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, they said right then to themselves that it was their fault because they haven't pushed any of these younger guys.
No.
They're still not doing it.
They are. They're getting better.
Yeah,
they're getting better.
It's one of those things that, like...
They slowed down pushes on guys.
But you look down,
and they've done it in a good way.
But you look pay-per-view to pay-per-view, it's the same guys. You're not giving any of the younger guys these chances to like actually do anything.
Well, they're pushing
or even
guys.
Raw like main events of always the same guys.
I know.
Like, oh my God, all of a sudden they decided to throw Zack Ryder in there. That's something new. But like they need to push a lot of these younger guys. I said this a while
ago. They're pushing Ziggler a lot slower and a lot more. The way they do it. I might not like Wade Barrett, but at least they haven't given the damn world title again.
Do you know?
He's world champion, right? No, he didn't win, did he? Okay, but at least they slowly been pushing him against Orton. When did I think Wade Barrett?
Orton wasn't even the champion.
No, but I thought Wade Barrett won a long time ago. Why did I think that?
Mark Henry's got the belt.
No, I know, but I thought no. I'm talking like he had like last year. Barrett never had it, did he? He didn't win it with the Nexus stuff.
Not the world title.
Well, good, but they're slowing him down. They're letting him beat Orton for a little bit. Well, that's fine, dude. That's the way to do it. They don't need the world championship.
Here's the funny thing.
Let me care about the character first. I like it.
Here's the funny thing. So you have Dolph Ziggler.
I don't like Barrett. I like what they're doing.
You have Dolph Ziggler. Mm-hmm. Gets traded to Raw with Vicky Guerrero.
Best trade of the Raw.
Okay.
Whatever those things are called now.
Follow me on this one. So he gets traded to Raw with Vicky Guerrero. And Vicky Guerrero, she's out there, just matches, and, you know, she's like being his, you know, manager or whatever. He's losing all the time.
Right.
All of a sudden, Jack Swagger comes into the scene. And Jack Swagger is now under management of Vicky Guerrero. Vicky Guerrero's been focusing a little bit more on Jack Swagger than she has on Dolph Ziggler. Jack Swagger can't win a match now, and Dolph Ziggler's winning all the time.
Mm-hmm. Or competitive, yeah.
What I think they should would be cool for a storyline is if you notice that the reason Dolph Ziggler was getting beat all the time, like a lot of it had to do with Vicky like interfering. Vicky would like run her mouth. He'd go to step up to like protect her, end up getting beat up and look bad. And now that stuff's happening to Swagger. the best way they could do it is have Dolph Ziggler realize that Vicky Guerrero is the one holding him back, has been holding him back the whole time, and he can do better without her.
I think they're going to get to there. They will. They'll get to there. They're going to get to there pretty soon, I think. In maybe a couple months. But no, seriously, like...
What was your opinion on Raw?
Raw was okay. Raw was Raw. The weird thing is I mean, like, Nash came out and talked with his X-Pac beard. You mentioned that to me. But... You ever notice how randomly sporadic these segments between Triple H and Nash are? Every couple weeks they just randomly appear and mostly Nash bullshits, talks and talks and talks, leaves. 3 weeks later when they rewrite Raw for the 47th time, they decide to have another segment. It just seems, doesn't that seem kind of just random?
This match could be...
And I don't even know if I need it.
If they ever
wrestle.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they ever do a match between Rock and Triple H,
I think Rock's probably...
It's going to be a pretty anticipated match, and, like, it might be...
You mean Nash and Triple H, or you talking Rock?
Nash and Triple H.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was like...
If they ever have the Nash-Triple H match, if that ever goes down, it's going to be, like, highly anticipated, because you haven't seen Triple H, wrestle a few matches... But for the most part, he's was injured, just came back, and then all of a sudden Nash shows up because most of the storyline with Triple H since he's been back was with the COO stuff. So Nash, we've only seen him at Royal Rumble. He hasn't done any matches, so neither of these guys have really been that active.
Oh, especially with each other.
And all of a sudden, like you got this storyline going. You really want to see this match, and it just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. So, if it does happen at WrestleMania, which, honestly at this point, I wouldn't want to see it at WrestleMania because they got so many freaking they got so many storylines right now that they're going to have like
show, though.
4 hours, but you can't do 900 matches in 4 hours.
Well, the only matches that I see right now are just Rock and Cena.
Well, no, because
I don't think Orton Barrett's not going to drag out that long. Big Show and Henry aren't going to go out that long.
No, I see the Henry and Daniel Bryan. I see that.
Really?
If it doesn't, it'll be a triple threat match. I can see that going all the way to WrestleMania.
That's surprising.
I still think the Barrett-Orton thing's going to go to WrestleMania.
There's no way. Who's going to win Royal Rumble?
We know Rock,
right now.
Cena.
I mean, I'm not saying this is who you're going to stick to. Who are you going to say? Who do you think's going to win Royal
Rumble?
Del Rio winning it last year is kind of a shock.
It's going to be
kind of came out of left field.
It's going to be a hard thing to say because there's a lot of guys out on injury that could come back.
I don't know if he's coming back yet or not for Royal Rumble or not. What would you say if you just had to take a wild guess?
Well, what I'm saying is with guys being injured, guys making returns.
You never know who's going to be at the
Jericho could come out.
I know he won't, but who do you think? He might come back.
RVD came out one year,
Yeah, but he's not going to win. Booker T came out last year. Nash, he wasn't going to win. If you had to pick somebody right now as a good, like if you were a betting man and you're doing an odds thing, like if you're like one of those Bodog kind of things, who would you be the betting man on?
Well, let's see. If CM Punk's still going to be champion going into WrestleMania.
Well, this is your hypothetical. Like, if you think CM Punk's going to be still world champion that far ahead, then he wouldn't be in the match.
It depends if Mark Henry. Like, I don't know if Mark Henry is to be champion by then. I hope not. I'd hate to see him in a main event match at WrestleMania.
Nah, that match won't be the main event world title.
But then again, then we got Kane supposedly coming back.
Yeah, there's that Kane stupid promo.
Which I'm sure that'll be the next Mark Henry.
Because he took out Kane.
Let's say Kane becomes champion. He keeps it till WrestleMania, and maybe they bring Undertaker back and have him
win the Rumble.
No, I'm saying they have him.
Oh. Well, who would win the Rumble?
Come back and feud with Kane, because remember the last time Undertaker was really around was the
WrestleMania when he died.
Yeah.
Remember, like they had to carry him off like he freaking died.
Yeah, and we haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
But
who did it? Come on, who?
Jeez, that's a hard.
I mean, I can take a stab.
We know it won't be Cena because Cena's already got that match with.
There's no reason for exactly.
I'm trying to think who are gonna be in matches, and
I can say.
I'd say Orton. I would say
Orton's probably a good guess, or Miz.
Yeah, I'd say Miz is kind of...
Miz won't have a championship by then because he's not doing anything with the championship now.
Oh.
He's going to probably be fighting Cena right now. He's probably going to go into fighting Cena for a little bit.
Maybe.
At least to the next pay-per-view. The only other person I could see, maybe Ziggler if they keep going the way they're going.
It could be Del Rio again. Because we don't... They haven't had that rematch yet. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we don't know. But I mean, we're not too far off really to be making Royal Rumble guesses. I mean, it's only 2 pay-per-views off. You got to think, we're already starting to shape up WrestleMania.
A lot can happen.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot of guys on injury.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Injuries can happen.
But, you know,
all the time.
I'm not saying we're making you stick to it. I think I'm going to say Miz right now.
I'd say the strong bet would be Orton, Miz.
Orton's always a good one.
It depends on which direction it goes. If
if Orton
wins the
title or
Royal
something.
match, gets to pick which title. So.
Well, they usually pick the title of the brand they're on. Usually, not all the time, but it's pretty common.
So if Orton wins it, then he's going to go after Mark Henry or whoever has that belt at the time. And
so
it'll either be Miz or Del Rio, probably.
I guess
I really don't want Del Rio in the main event at WrestleMania either. I don't think he...
We need to go to our top 5. We've been on this for
Do we
too
have
long.
any news?
We did. We talked about it. Archer's suspended. Bison Smith.
Okay. Didn't know if there was any more news that we had.
Raw ratings or Raw pay-per-views for WWE in the dumper for October. I think it was like a total of like not even 400,000 pay-per-views.
That's because other than these big pay-per-views, like the big...
Yeah, why would you want to buy any other
The big 3? Well, some
four,
of them...
Four.
Well, the big 4?
Rumble Series.
Some of them have been the same freaking pay-per-view.
They're
exact same matches from like 1 month to the next for like 3 months. Why?
I think they need to go to a 6 pay-per-view model a year.
Or higher, better, right?
You do 6 pay-per-views, you do your big 4, bring back King of the Ring, and then pick something interesting. The other 6, you do like Clash of the Champions, TV specials. It's like a TV special. I was talking about this a while ago with a couple people. Just do 6 TV specials. Do you remember they like the one when ECW came back? They had a special, like a 3-hour.
They haven't done
called Wrestling Challenge
Saturday
or something
Night's
like
Main
that.
Event.
I hate that. I've never liked Saturday Night's Main Event. But don't put on NBC. No, put on USA. USA respects the brand a hell of a lot better than NBC. Only
Saturday's Main Event back in the day was great because that's what set up the pay-per-views.
I want to call Clash of Champions though. I like Clash of Champions.
Well, yeah, but it did the same thing. But some of the
I always like Clash of Champions.
Some of the Saturday Night's Main Events, like Clash of the Champions.
I know they're a little like bigger in scope.
Well, story-wise, were better too. Because if I were to sit and think about Clash of the Champions, I think of major storylines that happened in Clash of Champions.
Dude, there was like crazy matches. Like
there were crazy matches.
They
but
didn't
I'm
have to
talking
rely
about
on story because WCW was never very good with their story. They're very good with the wrestling quality. That's why I was a WCW guy.
Saturday Night's Main Event. That's where Hogan lost the freaking title to Andre the Giant.
Yeah, that's true.
He ended up feuding with Macho Man because Miss Elizabeth got knocked off the ring apron. Like that's where all the big storylines started. It was Saturday Night's Main Event. Made you want to go out and buy.
Well, that's why they have those specials and they come up with good ideas. You could still sell them overseas. Overseas pay-per-view buy rates are through the roof. But American domestic views are just.
Did you see the
awful?
Apparently,
it's got to cost them money. It's got to get to that point.
Apparently, they mentioned with I guess it'd be the start of the year. I don't know if they've decided to do it or not. It was an idea that they were talking about because apparently something to do with the WWE Network. And I don't know if it has to do with the deal with Sci-Fi, but they're talking about maybe moving SmackDown to Tuesdays.
Live.
And have it live.
Live. Yeah, I was reading that too. That's because of. Do you remember a while ago they had 1 or 2 live SmackDowns on Tuesday because there's something they couldn't do it on Friday. There was it was a holiday or something, so they moved it to live, or they're going overseas. So they had to get everybody, like, they had to get it done that Tuesday
Well,
so
they
they
had
could
to-
go.
they
They
had
did
to
it, and
go.
it did really well. And that's also, it was like a super show, though. They had the Raw guys on there, too. But it was live. And everyone knows the live shows are always better.
That's why they did the Mexico City show. They were scouting for replacements for Sin
Sin
Cara. in case he
Cara.
was
They,
injured.
they knew ahead of time. They were already looking for one since you can't stop botching.
So I guess we should go into the top 5.
Yeah, sorry about no Impact Wrestling this week, even though the Rude Storm stuff. And even Angle's been okay, but dude, there's a lot more to talk about WWE recently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest news of the night apparently was the game. So I mean, we've talked the most about
Better
that.
Survivor Series as much as we've heard about. What's your number 5?
The Rock.
Hey, we tied.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was your number 1.
No.
Oh wow, good.
God, no.
Good. So, I don't think it's just why so low for you? I think you can tell my number 5.
Why so low? I mean,
You
yeah,
can cut
that
it
was
short since we're running along.
yeah, that was, you know, it was the pay-per-view. Like you said, he didn't really do much. The reason he made the list basically was because at the end of the match, he rock bottom Cena.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, he had a pretty cool promo.
yeah.
At Survivor
Well, I mean,
Series,
he
the
got
one he
like
did was pretty
all those chants.
Yeah, I mean,
think
I like
what
that.
I was gonna
Sounds
say-
okay.
What I was going to say earlier when you were talking about Cena, I think that Cena for like the last, 3 or 4 years has been living in this bubble where he's been getting all this hype from WWE, where they've been, like all the fans love you, everybody loves you. I think it's gone to his head.
Okay.
And basically he's bought into it. And you know for a fact that we've seen it, like some of the places that Cena was booed, they basically piped in fake cheers so that Cena didn't know that he was being hated places. Also, to make him look better on TV. But I think part of it had to do with that whole ego thing. It's like, oh, everybody loves you, nobody's booing you. And with The Rock coming in and now going against Cena, Cena's actually seeing that, like, there are fans out there that don't like him, and it's basically bursting that bubble, and I think it's great.
I can see that. And number 4,
What's your number 5? Daniel Bryan.
The Miz.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I picked Daniel Bryan because basically he did cash in, sort of, kind of, the Money in the Bank. He did win the belt for a split second.
That's why though he's not on my top 5.
Why?
Because he said he's gonna do it at WrestleMania. He was a man, was
Okay,
work,
but
and
still,
then just doesn't
I
do
mean,
it. Doesn't do it.
he technically tasted the gold, and then he won the Fatal 4-Way, so he gets the number one contender.
Yeah, so it could be fed to Mark Henry at a pay-per-view. I think it's a pay-per-view. Number 3.
We'll see what happens. Who?
Oh.
You didn't talk about
Oh
Miz.
yeah, Miz.
I picked Miz just because I don't want to talk about it.
The reason why he's in the list, I think, is just because I just liked how he conned R-Truth. Remember, like he's like, saying, "Hey, stupid idiot! He's just trying to get under our skin, trying to, And then he follows him like he's gonna go beat up Cena, and then does what's he called? Does a reality check?
Yes.
Does that right on the ring?
Which I saw
entrance.
it coming, but
I did too,
I liked
but I
it.
still liked it. You could see it in his face. You just knew because he's diabolical like that. He's kind of like
Well,
Jericho in that way.
I
and
knew-
I liked it. It's just-
I knew
Sometimes what you want to see is sometimes what you
I knew
want to see.
that when the doubt got brought to their attention,
Oh, it was done. It was done.
that you could hear the fans all of a sudden back R-Truth.
Well, because like I said,
And it was
Miz
one
is
of
the-
those-
is a diabolical
It's one of
guy,
those where
the
you're
guy
sitting
that-
there and it was like, okay, who's going to go face, who's going to go heel? And I actually
Technically,
thought,
we don't know if R-Truth's going to go face, but it's
Yeah.
it's usually pretty obvious.
I really thought that that it was going to be Miz to go face because they just turned R-Truth heel. It was kind of a weird to jump right back.
He's been gone long enough.
But
gone long
I
enough
really
from
wanted to
it,
see
anyway.
Miz. I like Miz as a heel.
Yeah, dude, as a
don't really
face.
like
He
Miz
hasn't
as a
really
face.
been a face, and it would
Miz
work.
is one of the best heels they have.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you don't want to do it.
So
Little R-Truth, you can
I
have
kind of saw it coming once the fans were cheering for Truth, and you could kind of tell once the fans were cheering for Truth, that Truth kind of started acting more like a face. So, all right, my number 3 is Kurt Angle.
Oh, wow, hey, Impact in the house. Zack Ryder. Someone that I really thought...
Woo! Did you notice he cut his hair this week?
Yeah, apparently WWE complained about him dyeing his hair.
Well,
because did you see the commercial? They had the merchandise and his hair was black. They have a bandana not bandana.
Yeah, that has fake hair.
But it's black because he dyed that. It looks
black.
It was in the tool and the.
It's brown.
Okay, it's brown, but now he's got like blondish hair.
No, his hair was blonde with the highlights in it. Now it's brown.
Okay, well that's the way then. Whatever. They flip flopped from what his toy was, and now they're pissed at him apparently. Because they changed his hair, which, why would you do that? It does. It's like getting a tattoo in wrestling. Like, you got to know that there is an image there.
Okay, okay, but in defense,
ask for approval beforehand. That's all I'm saying.
In defense,
it's a physical industry.
Okay,
you're not gonna get a tattoo in your face if you're a supermodel.
Okay, but here's what I'm saying: Cena changes freaking shirts constantly.
That's because those shirts they're already merchandise.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, like, if you're a little kid and you go out and you buy the toy, and you just saved up like your allowance and you want the brand new Cena with the red shirt, and then he comes out that night with a black shirt, and you're like, oh, yeah, I should have saved my money and bought the Cena with the black shirt.
But at least
right before the game was getting ready to come out, Cena comes out with a new black shirt.
That's how they do it.
Cody Rhodes took the mask off.
Like, you're one of the few guys that really worry that close.
I'm just saying, the game, like in the game, you knew they were going to put him with the mask because that was his new look.
This is the guy that will go through the action figures and be like, well, this guy's missing the armband that he would have had wearing that 1993 SummerSlam attire.
Well, see, but right now, I'm backing up basically kind of what you're saying. And you're like turning it around.
I know.
What I'm saying is for them to go after one guy when there's so many guys that do it, and I think the reason they do it is,
but Cena wearing the shirt's a merchandise thing.
What? So is Cody Rhodes, who might only have one action figure made of him ever because he doesn't change his look that much. I'm going to do a major look now. Might be a patch for the game, a downloadable like attire. I'm going to make money off of another action figure. Like, that's, I'm not saying that's why he did it. But what I'm saying is a lot of those guys changed, like, stuff only because they know this.
But, like, okay, Cena changing the pants each week, I'm sure that was all deliberate. The two pants each week for the different military things.
The pants isn't that big of a deal.
Yes, it is. It's no different than just shirt changing color because that means every one of those are different wrestling toys or in-game characters, right? The Navy, Marines, and Air Force, and all that crap.
Which they should change the toy line. Like, Spider-Man has a toy line.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 4 Spider-Man figures, and then you get like one that's not Spider-Man. They should change the WWE figure line to John Cena.
And then one non-John Cena?
Yeah, because you get like all these different John Cenas. Like, almost every time they come out with a new series,
Orton needs to start wearing different t-shirts, and he can get more toys too, like Cena.
Actually, he has been doing that. I think there's like 3 different Orton figures that they've made, and the only reason is because they've changed T-shirts. But that's what I'm saying. That's
we're kind of on the same page.
So, was that?
That was 3. We're on number 2.
Okay, so we're on number 2. My number 2 is Miz, and it's pretty much for what you said.
Big Show. For the WCW Big Show, and I was watching a little more recently.
I can understand
that. He's working a lot more. He's been trying.
He's lost a lot of weight.
He's lost a lot of weight.
He's actually in really decent shape.
He's off for a while, wasn't he? He was gone for a while. That was good for him. He can't wrestle that much.
But the thing of it was right before he was injured.
Yeah.
Because a couple of years ago, I think it was the time before this last injury when he was out for a while. They kept getting on his case about him being fat. They were like, "You weigh too much. You're a liability. You're going to hurt people and stuff." He came back, and he hadn't lost any of the weight from his return. Like, he came back, looked like the normal Big Show. This time around, with the whole Miz thing, or the Mark Henry injury, he was only gone for like maybe a month.
Yeah, maybe.
And he's like lost all the weight, got into really good
sometimes
shape.
You gotta think like different things in your life, and maybe he just likes what he's doing right now. Maybe they've worked. It's better time in his life. I mean, it's weird. There's a lot of weird factors that go into that. And no, he worked his ass off at
He's looking a lot like when he first came in, before they even gave him a name, when they were using Paul
White. Yeah, when they couldn't figure out a name for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking like that. I think part of his look for a while, like the whole singlet thing, was to cover up the weight. Because remember, there for a while, he wore like the little trunks, and then when he started putting on the weight, he put on the singlet. Now he could probably go back to the short trunks again, because I mean, he's got like...
He's just looking better, got a different attitude a little more.
Notice he's lost the weight, and he's actually looking better in the ring. He's faster, he's like more agile.
Doing different things, taking more risks, you know, I mean, more power to him.
On the opposite end of that is Mark Henry. They went on, got on his case, talked about firing him because he weighed too much. He lost all the weight, and he's still terrible. Hasn't helped. Hasn't done anything. So
they protected a lot. They've done a good job with that. So.
All right, so we're up to what number?
Number one.
You're number two. What's your number two? Oh, Big Show. Number one shouldn't be a surprise at all for you.
It's CM Punk.
Of course.
Yeah.
Not only did he win the title. Hey, he's getting me ice cream. Not only did he win the title, but he successfully defended it again the next night.
That wasn't for the championship.
Well, he still won the match.
We didn't defend it then.
It was belt versus belt, I thought.
No, it was just champion versus champion.
Well, whatever.
Wasn't...
He still got the win the next night. Looked good.
Well, my number one then is... Can you guess?
Better not be Del Rio.
No, it's the guy that Punk fought at Raw. It's Ziggler.
It's Ziggler.
I was gonna string it along and see what you'd say. No, Del Rio didn't do anything. He wasn't on the list last time. He's there besides that match, and he didn't really whatever, But no,
I was gonna say because you've done nothing but bitch for the last so many months that Punk ends up on my list. Oh, he's terrible. He's not doing anything. Blah blah blah. I was like, if he ends
was
up
you thinking Punk was just no? I still stand by my Punk stuff. I like watching him wrestle. I won't lie. He's one of the few guys I've seen in 20 years do a Mongolian chop.
Yeah.
You notice that? Does a couple slaps and does a Mongolian chop. It's like, holy hell.
I think we're definitely going to see more of him because with him
we're going to see more of him. He's a good champ.
Well, no, I'm saying with him with the title, and I'm pretty confident that I think that they're looking to keep the belt on him for a while.
I think they're going to for a while. It is possible we see him through WrestleMania.
So, obviously, we'll see more out of his matches. We'll definitely get to see him more in the ring since he'll be the champion.
Yeah,
people will be chasing after him.
That, he keeps saying he's going to do this and he's going to do that and blah, 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 blah. I'm getting a little tired of his marky stuff where he's like, hey, little guys that know stuff behind the scenes, take a quick look at this stuff. Oh, hi, Colt Cabana. It's just...
He hasn't said hi to Colt Cabana.
Yeah, actually, there was a thing on YouTube right before Survivor Series. They put a camera back there in Survivor Series behind the...
But you're being a mark by going and looking at that. And
no,
they show it on the pay-per-view.
More real marks are looking at that shit on YouTube.
They didn't show it on the pay-per-view, so it's not like he did it on the pay-per-view or on Raw.
It's still part of the...
Maybe Colt Cabana was watching it.
Yeah, taped YouTube segment that aired the next day. It's like a handy cam, so it looks like someone has their iPhone up.
Maybe it was Colt Cabana's camera.
They had one for Cody Rhodes too. And no,
did he say hi to his?
He said hi to Dustin.
His boyfriend.
He said hi to Dustin.
Which is funny because
they want a feud.
Yeah, at WrestleMania.
It's not gonna happen. I don't want it to.
Why?
Dust versus Cody Rhodes. That sounds like a barn burner.
Well, it could be a dark match, or it could be the opening match, but...
A dark match probably one of those battle royals.
It'll be one of the first times in...
brother versus brother.
Well, it'll be one of the first...
The problem is this is the Gold Dust. It's the character. It has to be Dustin Rhodes. It had to be Dustin Rhodes, is what I mean. Like to do the brother versus brother thing.
Not really, because at first they could have it be the whole Goldust thing. That's why they're.
I feel like if Bret Hart was feuding with the Blue Blazer.
No. Listen, okay. If Bret started feuding with the Blue Blazer because he's like, Owen, I know that's you. This is a dumb gimmick. Lose the gimmick, and then it becomes Bret versus Owen. That makes sense. The same way as if Dustin or if
Cody and Goldust says that you should be better than that.
Exactly.
You're Rhodes.
That's where it makes perfect sense. So you started out with him and Goldust and ended with the feud being brother versus brother, yeah. Dustin and
okay.
But
no,
this might be the first time though in like years that if that match happens that I'll actually be cheering for Goldust.
But mine, Dolph Ziggler. He's been the man recently for me. Just that man. I don't know if they told him that he's in line for something big in a couple months or something, because he has just been on fire on every show that he's been on recently.
I feel though with like Ziggler that somebody, whether it's corporate itself doesn't like Ziggler. There's somebody that doesn't like Ziggler because you can probably remember where Ziggler put that he wrote online somewhere that they basically banned gloves, that the guys couldn't wear gloves, and that's why he went to the taped hands, but no one else lost their gloves. He was the only one they said that to. I think there's a little bit of
I think they like him now.
Well,
they need more. Well, they also need more heels. And maybe that's one thing they're thinking. I mean, who else is there to be a heel? Hell, who's a heel on SmackDown besides Mark Henry and Wade Barrett?
Yeah,
Cody Rhodes.
Who would have thought that when we saw the Spirit Squad years ago, that Nikki from the Spirit Squad
remember everyone
was going to be
that
the guy.
They promoted Kenny Dykstra. And he was supposed to be the next big guy, Ken Doane. And I think he's appeared a few other places or something. I don't even know if he's a wrestler.
I just thought he looked like Johnny from the Karate Kid.
Yeah, he does.
That's what they should have done with his gimmick.
Nikki is the guy, the biggest guy out of those now.
U.S. champion.
I know. He's been it for a while. He's
outside of them having the tag belts. Kenny Dykstra, Dome, whatever the hell you want to call him, he had a singles belt.
Did he? I don't remember.
But it wasn't anything major.
That was during the terrible. WWE was so terrible at that time.
No, it was after the Spear Squad when they were making him the king.
Yeah, I know. Then he disappeared.
He had a belt and he had a manager, but Ziggler's had the tag belts. He's had the Intercontinental title. Now he's had the U.S. title. He's had the World title.
Yeah. He won Money in the Bank. He cashed in Money in the Bank.
Was that so? That pretty much makes him. Does that make him a Grand Slam?
No, because you can't do Grand Slam anymore. European, remember?
Yeah, but now
they don't count that.
It's got to
be because those two are considered the same tier.
Anyway,
I was considered Grand Slam. Does make sense.
He's had almost every belt outside of the WWE title. He's had every single belt.
I don't think anybody. I think there's a possibility he might get fed to Punk. During it wouldn't be Punk's payoff big feud, but it could be a good title defense. Probably Del Rio, he'll fight again, right? Because he doesn't get a number one contendership.
Yeah, that's
and then maybe after that we'll see. He's got to fight someone
today.
He's got to fight someone with the pay-per-view, so it could be either a rematch with Del Rio. Maybe there's a screw job in the thing. They better not change the title like that quick. And then have Punk win it back again.
If I was writing
Punk adding legitimacy,
if I was writing the storyline, honestly, what I would love to see if Punk's champion at WrestleMania. Right now, this would be the way to do it. So
you're not going to see a Punk Austin though for the title.
Well, definitely not. No, this would be great. This would be the storyline I would write if I was writing and they were like, write what you want to see happen with CM Punk. He's going to be champ, WrestleMania, write the match. Royal Rumble, all of a sudden, surprise entrant, nobody sees it coming, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho ends up winning it, gets a title shot against, he gets his pick. He ends up picking CM Punk. Those two guys would give the best promos. They would give the best matches. That would be, for me, that would probably be the main event for me at WrestleMania. That'd be the match I would want to see the most. Because those guys, I think, not only, just all around, not only on the mics, but in the ring, the whole thing, I think that would be one of the greatest matches of all time.
We better close this, because I'm seriously thinking this is about 2 hours long now, or an hour and a half. It's really long. So, I guess we made up for last week's episode with a double.
This is a double feature.
A double feature.
Yeah.
You get to pay
Kind
the
of
same
like how
price.
they do the 3-hour Raws. This is our 2-hour.
2-hour hard ways. So, out there in TV land, watch us next week.
Computer land.
See you.
Have fun playing the game.